For some reason, I went into this episode expecting that I was going to like it a good amount, and I'm not entirely sure what prompted this expectation, but it was the expectation that I had, and after watching it, it was pretty good. I don't think it was anything worth writing home about, but it was entertaining enough. So, this is a fairly straightforward historical episode. They go into a point in Earth history, get caught up in some drama, make it out of the situation unscathed. Now, historical Doctor Who episodes aren't exclusively a bad thing. They tend to be decent enough, but more often than not, I find myself wanting more from them. I think my favorite historical so far is the Aztecs, which managed to tell a pretty entertaining story that didn't waste too much time and introduced the viewer to the prospect of not messing with time. This episode, on the other hand, just didn't do much that impressed me or engaged me all that much. But the weird thing about this episode is that it is Patrick Troughton's second story as the Doctor, and there's a good portion of it where we just didn't get that much of him, and a decent portion of what we got of him, he was pretending to be an elderly woman, which was entertaining enough, but also kind of goofy and not particularly believable, although I'm sure it wasn't trying to be. Coming back to this being his second episode, I suppose it makes sense that they would try and bank on the popularity of the Daleks in its first one, and then go for a historical in the next one, because, well, they had to sell people on the idea of a different person as the Doctor, so going with things that were familiar to audiences starting off makes sense because it gives them a familiarity, at least, and it doesn't shake up as much of the show all at once, even though the lead has just changed. It makes sense as a decision to go for a historical, but I've come to realize that I don't actually like the historical episodes all that much, which is a shame because they've had so many of them, and they can be done well. It's just that usually they aren't done all that well, in my opinion. This became more of a thing about historical episodes than the actual episode here, but I kind of needed to talk about that because there's a point that I realized, and I have to bring it up somewhere. I don't know, it just didn't come together to be much of an episode for me. I haven't mentioned it yet, and I probably should, but this is one of the missing episodes, which just means that we aren't able to actually see what happened. I don't think there's anything else to say other than I would have preferred to see it, but so would most of us, I imagine, but there's nothing we can really do about that. It's worth noting that this episode introduces us to Jamie, who I believe is a fan-favorite companion. We get some of him here, but I don't have anything really to say about him quite yet. I haven't seen him as a companion yet, because he was in the location they went to in this episode, so he's really just one of the supporting cast there, and so are the companions, but yeah, hopefully you know what I'm saying, and hopefully we get more of a sense of him soon. Fun fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if you knew this. Apparently, the BBC received enough letters and calls from fans saying that they liked Jamie and that he should be a companion that they decided to do it. I do have a specific interest in Jamie because I've heard so much about him, so I'll be keeping an eye on him and I'm excited to see where he goes from here. Overall, this episode was entertaining enough, if not particularly noteworthy. It didn't do a lot wrong, but it also didn't do too much right. It's a fun little episode, and I can't see myself remembering it that well in a month, so I'm going to give the Highlanders a rating of 7 out of 10. If you join me again this coming Sunday, then I should have another Doctor Who ranking video for you. I, at this current time of recording, don't know exactly what I am going to have planned then, but some sort of a ranking video. So, that's going to be that. I hope to see you next Sunday, and that's going to do it for now, folks. Thank you for watching, take care, and have a lovely week.